Okay, this is just drone footage of a march in England where the native English citizens are marching to protest the excessive number of illegal aliens brought into England that are destroying the place. There's rampant crime in the streets and abuse of people. And that's another thing too. All this training in thinking about racism, it was, and feminizing all the men and saying you're not allowed to say your culture is better than other people's culture. Ever since the beginning of history, every single culture thinks its culture is better than other people's because that makes them defend it. But you could also have objective standards to say that British culture was better than the culture of most people. They had a very sophisticated literature. Charles Dickens wrote one of the greatest novels of all time in Christmas Carol, probably the greatest novel of all time. And they did have magnificent artists in the 1800s with the Pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood, and then the subsequent disciples of the Pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood, like Edmund Leighton, one of the greatest artists of all time. So anyways, that is what's going on in Britain. So basically, the situation continues to get worse and worse. And it's because the rulers want it to happen. The game plan is flood the country with outside illegal aliens, especially Muslims, get them to cause tons and tons of street crime, as they're doing. There's a lot of videos, too, where they're just spitting on the native British citizens when they walk by. It's disgusting, okay? And once they create enough chaos, they'll bring in martial law. They also use unfair treatment. They penalize the British citizens for minor things. They just make a post that will be labeled as hate speech on, let's say, Facebook or the internet, and they will then arrest them. They'll even put them in jail for that. Whereas you can have these illegal aliens sitting there spitting on the British people, and they don't get in trouble for that. There's a tremendous double standard. They give them free food, they give them free lodging, whereas in the meantime, the British people, many of them are homeless and screwed. They don't get help. You know, young British girls get RAPED'd. You know, no significant investigation. They got gangs of men who do that to the British girls, and they're not being defended. Then, you know, this Tommy Robinson tries to defend them, and they throw him in jail. It's really bad in Britain. This is the collapse and destruction of Europe. It's not a joke. And it's nice that they're walking, but that's not going to do enough. It's a step in the right direction, but they're going to have to do a lot more than that to get things to turn around. Anyways, I'll put a link to this so you can see for yourself.